All right, let's do this. Python from the ground up in just about 5 minutes. Seriously, you don't need to know a single thing to get started, so let's just dive right in.
Think about that for a second, because that's exactly what coding is. It's not just a bunch of weird commands on a screen. It's a language, a way to communicate your ideas and build, well, anything. Apps, websites, you can even analyze tons of data or create whole digital worlds. It all starts with learning the grammar.
Okay, first things first. Just like anything, you got to start with the absolute basics. We're going to call these the atoms of Python. These are the tiny fundamental pieces that everything else, and I mean everything, is built on.
All right, first atom, the variable. It sounds technical, but it's super simple. Just imagine you have a box. You can put something in it, like the number 5, and then you slap a label on the box. Let's call it X. That's it. Now, anytime you need that number 5, you don't grab the number, you just grab the box labeled X. It's just a way to store stuff.
Now, about those labels on your boxes, you can't just name them whatever you feel like. There are a few ground rules. They can't start with a number, that's a big no-no, and you can't have spaces or hyphens in there either. Just stick to letters, numbers, and the underscore character, and you'll be totally fine.
So while Python's pretty chill about how you name things, programmers have come up with some style guides to make everyone's life easier, so your code is easy to read. The big one in the Python world is snake case. See how it uses underscores between words? It just makes things neat and tidy.
Here's where Python gets really smart. When you put something into one of those variable boxes, Python just figures out what it is. You give it hello in quotes, and it knows, yep, that's text. You give it 20, it knows it's a whole number. 20.5, it knows that's a decimal. And if you give it true or false, it understands that's a simple yes or no. You don't even have to tell it.
All right, so we've got our single data atoms. That's great, but the real power comes when we start sticking them together, right? We're about to move from atoms to molecules. These are collections of data that let us do some seriously cool and powerful stuff. Okay, Python has 4 main ways it likes to group data. Now, don't freak out and try to memorize this chart. Just get the main idea. Each one of these is like a different tool for a different job. Sometimes you need a list you can change, sometimes you need one that's permanent, and so on. We'll go through them.
First up is the list. The easiest way to think about this, it's literally just like a shopping list. You write things down in order, and you can change your mind. You can add stuff, remove stuff, or swap one thing for another, just like we did here, swapping out the number 22 for the name Shiro. Super flexible. And then we have the tuple. This is basically the anti-list. Once you make a tuple, that's it. It's locked in, set in stone. The fancy word for this is immutable, which just means unchangeable. This is perfect for when you have data that you absolutely, positively do not want to be changed by accident. Okay, dictionaries are one of my favorites. They are so useful. The whole idea is that you store information in pairs, a key and a value. It works exactly like a real-world dictionary. You have a word, that's the key, and you look it up to find its definition. That's the value. It's all about quick lookups.
And last but not least, we have the set. The set has one simple but awesome superpower. It hates duplicates. It will only ever store unique items. You can see here we tried to add apple twice, but the set just said whoop and only kept one. It handles all the deduplicating for you, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we know how to store data and how to organize it. Now for the fun part, making our code actually think. This is all about logic, giving our code the ability to ask questions and make decisions based on the answers. This is where programs start to get smart. Pay attention to this one because it trips up literally everyone when they're starting. A single equal sign is a command. It's like you're pointing and saying, you will now be equal to 5. But a double equal sign is a question. It's asking, hey, are you equal to 5? One is an order, the other is a question. Huge difference. So, how do we use that question? With an if statement. This is the absolute core of decision-making in code. Think of it as a fork in the road. You ask a question with if. If the answer is yep, you go down one path. And if the answer is nope, the else part lets you go down the other path. Simple as that.
And, or, and not. These are your tools for asking more complicated questions. And is the strict one. Both things have to be true. Or is the chill one. As long as one thing is true, it's happy. And not is the opposite guy. It just flips the answer from true to false or false to true.
All right, let's talk about the last of the big 4 concepts. What if you need to do something 100 times or 1,000,000 times? Are you going to write the same line of code over and over? No way. That's where loops come in. They are the key to making your code do a ton of work for you.
You've got two main flavors of loops. A for loop is what you use when you know exactly how many times you need to do something. It's like saying, for every item in this list, do this. A while loop is different. It's for when you don't know how many times you'll loop. It just says, keep doing this while some condition is still true.
Check this out. This is a perfect, simple for loop. We're basically just telling Python, hey, for every single letter in this name, just print it out. And look what it does. It just goes through character by character, SID, SID, and prints each one. Easy.
And here's the while loop. See how we start a little counter I at 0? The loop's only job is to ask, over and over, is I still less than 3? As long as the answer is yes, it prints I, and, this is crucial, it adds 1 to it. So it prints 0, then 1, then 2. The second I hits 3, the condition is false, and the loop just stops. All done.
Okay, let's see how all these pieces fit together. It's like a mini program. We've got a variable, fruits. That's holding a list. Then a for loop goes through each item in that list. And inside that loop, an if statement asks a question. Does this fruit have the letter A in its name? If it does, it prints a message. See? Variables, lists, loops, logic, it's all right there, working in harmony.
And you know what? That's basically it. That's the core of it. Just 4 big ideas. Variables for storing stuff, collections for organizing that stuff, logic for making decisions, and loops for doing things on repeat. If you get those 4 things, you have everything you need to start building real, working code. Seriously.
It's exactly like it says on screen. What we just did, you learned the alphabet, some basic words, and the sentence structure of Python. You now have the fundamental grammar to start expressing ideas. The only thing left to do is to start writing.
So the building blocks are all yours. The tools are in your hands. There's really only one question left to ask yourself. You've learned the grammar, so what are you going to build?